I would never expect to find a gem in a place like Netflix by scrolling through the anime list, but here we are. But I must really praise Netflix because during the last years, Netflix not only started to invest more into having more anime on the platform, but they started investing into anime productions as well. And so they started making completely new anime, and this year it's really success after success. First it was Love Through a Prism, on which I did a review recently. You can click on the link if you want. And now it's Cosmic Princess Kaguya, which we'll be reviewing today. But let's start with a fun fact. Cosmic Princess Kaguya is based on an old Japanese folklore tale called The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. And it tries to use the key moments from the folklore tale and convert it by using also streaming, VR, gaming and Vocaloids. And what is even more interesting is that the movie is a debut for the director, and he's known for doing the opening for Chainsaw Man and also the first opening for Jujutsu Kaisen. But there is still one thing that's even more interesting, that you still haven't subscribed to this channel. So hearing this, it sounds really like a recipe for failure, right? Well, it actually works. Story starts when Iroha finds a radiant baby in a telephone pole. Yes, a radiant baby in a telephone pole. The baby grows up to the size of a high schooler in a couple of days, and Iroha names her Kaguya, and they basically became friends. The main part of this movie though is that there is a VR world called Tsukuyomi, and after seeing a concert of the most popular VR idol, Uchiyo, Kaguya decides she wants to also become a VR idol, and she starts basically singing in the VR world. It sounds super crazy, right? But let's have a look at what Cosmic Princess Kaguya actually does correctly. First, I really want to talk about the characters, because I think that's really the highlight of the show. I think the characters are really perfect, and I really grew to like them a lot. And I'm talking about main characters and side characters included. I think the side characters were also a highlight, and what I'm really just sad about is that we didn't explore the background of some of the side characters, like for example Iroha's brother and his Backstreet Boys gang. Then the second thing I really want to talk about is definitely the music. I think the music is really perfect, and it's the core part of the movie. It's really catchy. It's not K-pop Demon Hunter sketchy, but I think it's still pretty good. But what I like the most with all of this combined is definitely the chemistry between Iroha and Kaguya. They are complete polar opposites, and that's why I think they work so well together as characters. So the writing of these two is absolutely perfect. And one thing that I still didn't understand to this day is the 3v3 fight that they had in the VR world. Like, I still don't get the rules. I still don't get how the fight works, what are the how many times can you revive and stuff like this. So the fight was actually cool. I think the sequences and the fighting was actually pretty good. The movie not being a fighting genre, I still don't understand how does it work, but I think it was pretty funny, and it was a really nice addition to the movie. Animation of the whole movie is really perfect, and I think it's really gorgeous. The art is insane, and I think the movements of the characters as well, the expressions that Kaguya has, because she sometimes behaves a little bit like a child, but they really capture this really well. I cannot also stress this enough. I think the comedy is really subtle. I don't think it's really, there is a lot of it, but whenever it comes up on the screen, a bit of comedy, a bit of jokes, or maybe some funny lines, it's always well placed, and it's pretty cool. It's a nice cherry on top. But I wouldn't say the comedy is the main part of the whole movie. I think it's just a small addition. And honestly, if you would ask me about the story, I would be a bit confused, because the story is not really that complicated. It's really us watching Kaguya as she rises through the ranks to become the most popular VR idol. And keep in mind, the movie is 2.5 hours long. Basically, we are just watching this rising through the ranks, and the core part of the story is really pushed to the end, and really in the last maybe 10-15 minutes. I would, for example, welcome to dive deeper a little bit into Iroha's future, when she grows up and when she's developing the tech, let's say, for the VR idols. I think that was really cool, and that could be maybe more integrated into the story. But I understand that was not the focus of the director, but I still think the story was really, I think, the main component of the whole movie. And now we are finally in the judging part. Let's start with the pros. Animation, music and the concept are all really cool, and I don't think anybody would have guessed that the combination of streaming, VR and Vocaloids with a Japanese folklore tale as a base would really work, but it did. I think the idea was maybe a little bit crazy, but I think it was really well executed. A lot of emotional moments, the songs were really good, So I think it worked really well. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I think the characters really deserve another praise because I think they were perfect, they worked really well, you really grow attached to them. But for me personally, I think the side characters were even cooler. I'm a huge fan of Iroha's brother. And now let's move to the cons. So my only con is really the pacing. I think the story was really not well paced throughout the whole length of the movie. If you think about it, most of the movie, like 90%, we are looking just at Kaguya's rise through the ranks and how she basically becomes the most popular VR idol, and also her relationship with Iroha, which is cool, but I think it could be, let's say, stretched in a better way where we would get the main part of the story, basically the revelation. I don't want to spoil anything, but the revelation came really at the end with the time when Iroha became older, and I think this could been pulled in, I think, sooner in the movie. So the idea was cool, and I think the ending was also really cool. I loved it. I think they could have played more around that. And so with the pros and the cons, now let's move to the ratings. Animation 9 out of 10. Story 8 out of 10. Pacing 5 out of 10. Characters and character development 9 out of 10. Music 8 out of 10. And rewatch value 7 out of 10. So my final verdict for Cosmic Princess Kaguya is 8 out of 10. And so I think Cosmic Princess Kaguya is really worth the watch, and it is really a lot of fun, but don't expect from it really like an emotional scar like some anime can give, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's really not that deep. I think it's very simple, but very well executed. So what do you think? Did you like the concept of Cosmic Princess Kaguya? Let me know in the comments. With this, we are reaching the end of the video, so like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's see each other in another review.